Hello. It is good to be back on a live stream. So unfortunate that the Arizona scheduling just puts me 2 to 3 hours behind the rest of you, so it is difficult to stream after work, but here we are. Got off early today, was able to get the stream set up, and we have a live redraft league. I'm drafting in it. It's a $20 buy-in league. Super excited to do my first official redraft draft of the season. But thank you for everybody who is participating in the draft, and welcome to anyone who is hanging out with us on stream. The good people who are here, let me know that you're here. And at the same time, if you guys wouldn't mind letting me know if my audio's too loud, if the music for you guys is too loud or anything, just let me know. I can make any adjustments whatsoever. But super excited. We are going to do a live derby. So basically a little bit more complicated than just randomizing the draft board here. Where I'm going to randomize it, and then the person who has the 101, they actually get to pick where they want to be in the draft. They have first dibs, and then so on and so forth. Number 2 gets to pick from the remaining spots, so on and so forth. But before we get into that, I have just a couple of announcements that I would like to make for you guys, let you guys know what's going on. I've been a little bit busy the last few weeks, have not been able to push out as much content as I would have hoped for, but we have a couple of pretty exciting things that have been cooking. First off is going to be the Data-Driven Fantasy YouTube channel, and it was a surprising amount of work to make it, form a new channel, just with all the account stuff and things like that. But super excited to be posting some redraft specific content on this channel. And right after this live stream, I actually have a video all ready to go. Can't let you guys know my secrets before we draft, but it's all ready to go. All we have to do is basically hit post to public. This video is the inaugural video of the redraft channel is ready to go. I was planning on streaming tonight, live streaming tonight on this channel, on the Data-Driven Fantasy channel specifically, and unfortunately, apparently you have to ask to live stream, and it takes 24 hours for them to verify your account specifically to live stream, which I don't think that I had to do that a year ago when I started live streaming on the Dynasty channel. I had already done other verification things for the channel, but live streaming specifically, it needed an additional verification for some odd reason. Let's see. Okay. I just need to do something. So need to turn off the ability of additional people to join. Let's see. There we go. Now we won't have any extra people trying to join off of the links. Perfect. So yeah, I was trying to set up the stream, and it said, hey, you can't do this for another 24 hours after you have filled out this verification stuff. So, hiccups in the road, but it is what it is. It'll be what it'll be. And I'll be posting this video shortly after the live stream, and it's going to be on basically the biggest differences between my rankings of redraft players and the current redraft market, the ADP, as someone who has not really been big into the redraft scene this offseason so far. The past 2 weeks, a big focus of mine has also been getting really reintegrated into the redraft state of mind, but then also like trying to understand redraft snakes, different league settings, best ball versus just like a managed league versus like 10 team, 12 team, 14 team, super flex, 1 QB. I have been in it. And the other announcement here that you guys might have seen, might not have yet, I haven't really talked about it on my channel, but it's going to be that I am working with Smash Accept Fantasy Team for the past maybe like 3-ish weeks. I've been meeting with Boot and Dynasty Dad and Snoog, and officially the contract and everything has been signed. Is that I am going to be part of the team here at Smash Accept, and my focus, of course, I'll be a content creator on the site, supposed to be added in as a creator on the site here in the next few days. But what I've been more focused on is helping on the back end with the numbers behind the trade calculator, the draft assist, the lineup optimization. You guys know I know how to do numbers and things like that and make stuff work. And Boot identified that from some of my videos. He's the CEO of Smash Accept, runs the website, a lot of the business side of things, and so got connected with them. And this Dynasty trade calculator that we're working on right now, it's still on like version 1 before I hopped in and started helping out with things. Still on version 1. Hopefully in the next 3 or 4 days, we have the Dynasty calculator all finished up, along with the redraft calculator that can be pushed out on the site. Everything is buttoned up from an actual tool perspective, but I don't know that much about like coding, like managing a website and stuff like that. And apparently there's still some things that need to be worked out on the back end so that it doesn't break different features on the site for the new calculator to be pushed out to the real site. We've been working on like a fake site, getting everything teed up for some of these tools and the changes that are going to be pushed out. So I'm super excited for that. That like this is going to be the best Dynasty fantasy football calculator. That's what I've been spending most of my time on so far, is getting that super locked in. I think that it's like 95+% of the way there. It's not 100% there yet, I don't think, but it's like at least 95% of the way to being like absolutely unbreakable. And we know that a ton of these trade calculators, it's super easy to confuse them, super easy to break them. And basically what we did was make them think like a Dynasty analyst or like a real person. And so it's been super cool. But let's see who we have here in the chat. You not working? Okay. I have the I think that the Ninja Social, which lets me put the chats up on the screen. I didn't have it all the way logged in, but we've got Cam XDB here planning to draft with us. And in the chat here, we've got Wilter White, Floating 6673, Tom Hoggy also drafting with us here. And then let's see, I think, Mr. Brisky, glad you're here as well, my friend. And of course, we've got Sleeper Dynasty Blake hanging out. I'm going to go ahead and randomize this draft order, and then we can get started with the derby. So I'm just going to do one randomization because we're doing the derby. So Pandora's box, let me know what pick you want. Okay, and we've got Pandora's box here in the chat, so you can probably let me know. Let's see. Are our chats finally? Yes, here we go. Yeah, Blake, super excited. There is a trade calc going on right now. Like, there's currently a trade calc, of course, the first version. It's pretty good, but it's not like significantly better than a lot of the other sites right now. Super excited for the to push it out. And honestly, like the amount of confidence that I have in this trade calculator is that I'm going to ask Boot if we can like do a promo where if you can like legitimately break the trade calculator, you know, in a real way, not just, you know, oh, your rankings are high on this guy and low on this guy, but like this would okay, Pandora's box is at the 101. Sweet. But that like truly like it's screwing up, because of course, like if you go off my trade values, it's gonna have that in Dynasty Scatterbo and Emeka Ibuka are pretty close together in value, but that's just like one player that I'm very specifically high on and one player that I'm very specifically low on. So that like that's kind of stuff doesn't really count. But like legitimately, I want to do a promo where basically we give free trade questions or like a month of free membership or something. Okay, and 102 for Obi-Wan here. So we're just going through exactly how the randomizer had it so far. That again, that is how confident I am that this calculator is almost all the way there. Okay, now we have Jameloff, what you want, boy? Let's see, no KTC type 12 second round pick. Yeah, no, exactly. There's like a decomp rule that I specifically put in that fixes that, so that like whoever, sorry, I'm getting confused by or distracted by trying to do the derby as well. So Jameloff, brother, I don't know what pick that is. Okay, let's pick 11. Let's see. You can pick whatever position you want. Yeah, so basically like and there's certain tiers and different things to how it works, but basically it is physically impossible for, let's say, like a 3,000 value asset, no matter how many of them you stack together, physically impossible for the calculator to ever tell you that it's a fair deal for like a Jamar Chase or a Bijan Robinson. So it's like that is totally not a possibility. The KTC, like that's the most annoying thing, is that people like use the okay, Jameloff is 12. Come on guys, let's get this a little faster here. So SD Howard, you are up next. What you want, son? Let's get it. Yeah, super excited. I've like been putting in a ton of freaking hours into this trade calculator. Pandora's box, what is up? Glad to have you here, my friend. 101. Let's get it. First in the derby, wanted the first pick in the draft. I'm worried about Igbuka's future with Baker potentially not getting a future contract. I'm worried about Baker for some other, or not Baker. I'm worried about Igbuka for some other reasons, but y'all already know that if you've been watching my content. I'm just not not the highest guy on Ibuka. Still a great player. But I'm just personally not my guy. All right. SJ Howard wants the 110. So now after the first 2 picks are off the board. Hi wife, welcome home. I'm live streaming. My wife says hi to the live stream people. Let's see. Okay, now we've got myself. Okay. I haven't been actually thinking about this. You know what? Just give me something in the middle. I'm gonna go. I would have really liked 101 or 102. No, I'm gonna go with the. This is so hard. I'm gonna go with the 103. I'm gonna go with the 103 here. And then we've got Matt Hugh. And then 101. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 10, and 12 are taken. Do. Thank you, K-Man. My wife deserves a high. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. So the draft settings, I have them up here as well. It's gonna be a 12-team start 8, no kicker, no defense league tonight. That's a little bit more standard here for these redraft leagues these days, like the live listener league. I think that it makes sense when we're doing a bunch of these redraft leagues that, you know, defense and kicker, you're always having to like stream guys and this and that. So, let's see. Then if you're in a bunch of these leagues, just having to think about that and hunt the waiver wire all the time, it can be a little much, can be a little exhausting. So, I think that's why we take it out. See, okay, TikTok, Mr. Matt. If you don't, let me know what spot you want. Soon we're gonna have to skip you. Okay, and we've got the 104 for Matthew Hugh. I think Evan is here and yep, ready to pick his spot. We're almost there, guys. Just a couple more. So let's see. Been doing a lot of like rankings for different formats, thinking about that, and it's just tough, like wrapping your head around all these different league settings for redraft. Like I feel like Dynasty, the league settings don't matter quite as much. It's like the Dynasty value part of it kind of takes over. $105 here. The Evan Hickman. Do you guys have any like questions about anything you guys want to talk about in terms of Dynasty or fantasy football in general, like anything like that? I don't have a bunch of stuff that I specifically am wanting to talk about besides getting into this draft. Um, Auctions though, I really want to do some redraft auction drafts. Um, I did one, live streamed it with Boot from Smash Accept. That was pretty fun. But these market inefficiency right now for those auctions, it feels like the 1-2 turn, and then a lot of the second round players are just undervalued right now in the general community and are just great. There's great prices on those guys. Like you can get like London, you can get 5 of like London, Henry, Hampton, Olave Pickens, stuff like that, and just have like 5 of these second round guys, and then fill in with some like later guys. And I mean, if you wanted like a Bowers, you could do a Bowers instead of like a wide receiver or something, or like an Allen instead of at QB, but you can also just like punt tight end, punt QB down in those drafts. Okay. UK Chief 106. It's really interesting to see where these picks are going off the board at. I almost took I was split between the 103 and the 111 here. I feel like I want to be either the 1-2 pick, or I want to be at the other side in like the 10, 11, 12 range. But there's guys in the early third, or there's picks that you can make in the early third round right now that I'm a really big fan of. So UK Chief 106, that was kind of my thought process. Now, Kmex, you are up, my friend. Make your selection. Let's see. How do I feel about Beck? I mean, he looked good in the game, in the preseason game, but like literally, okay, Kmex wants the 111. Smart choice out here. For Kmex. We are almost there, friends. Age, you're up. We got like 3 left. To go. So, but basically, like, everyone looks good in preseason. Like, all the offenses look good. Or not, I guess not all the offenses, but like, players do generally, like, when better players are playing with like 3rd string, 4th string players in like these preseason games, sometimes like they just look better. I just remember like one season, it was like the Chiefs had I don't even remember like the names here, but there were like 3 quarterbacks that played in a preseason, like the first preseason game or something, and like all 3 of them looked like really, really freaking good. And it's like obviously like all 3 of these guys, all 3 of these backups are like not actually really good. But like, yeah, I think that it's a good thing. Obviously, you come out, you look good, but like I'm not gonna be making any like big changes to player evaluations based on preseason games when they're playing against like trash defense. But if anyone like disagrees with me, then like let me know. Let's see. I feel like redraft value is a lot more speculative than dynasty value, which makes draft harder in a way. Yeah, redraft also, you have to okay, let's see, 107 here for Blake. And then we have one more up. But yeah, like the redraft value, the drop off is so much more exponential. Because there's only so many guys that, oh, it's Dan. Dan has the 12. Dang, I really screwed you guys over. The Dynasty savvy guys just got shit on in this derby. Okay, I guess I don't know. I don't have to ask Dan where he wants to draft. I'm an idiot. He only has one option. Yeah, you get 108. All right, let me just set this up real quick, and then we can get rolling. Order, okay. So move. I just need to get the order picked up here. Yeah, like exactly. I completely agree with what you're saying, about like the redraft value. Like, you know, you can be drafting someone in the third of a redraft league, and just like if that player comes out and stinks, their value could just, and especially if it's not like if the perception's bad about around a player, their value can just like legitimately evaporate so fast. And these lower round guys, it's like legit half of them you're dropping. So it is super super speculative. Yes, please, I've been trying. Yes, KMX, you're my new best friend. I've been trying to get these guys to do some auctions with me, and they said, go screw yourself, Levi. We don't want to do auctions. So I appreciate that, and we're gonna have to get in some auctions together, my friend. But you can't steal all my tricks. You can't steal all my players. Okay, you have to be nice to me. Okay, there we go. Draft order is set, and we are starting. I am going to pause it for just a second and throw out just a message to everybody that we are starting. I don't want anyone to auto. So I'm just gonna give it a minute. That would be super unfortunate and would waste even more time if we had to go back and restart the draft. Yeah, Derby, super fun if you get the draft position that you want to get. A lot less fun if you do not. Let's see. Zachary Davis. Okay, we're good to go. Perfect. We're resuming and we're in it. So Zachary Davis, haha, I backed out of this one because I didn't want to gamble with a bunch of fantasy sickos, but man, I would totally do an auction. Sweet, dude. I, again, trying to get an auction going, so I'll hit you up on that. Oh, yeah. What? Okay, what are we saying come on to? Okay, let me know. Why are we saying come on? Yeah, agreed. How high would I take Jeremiah Love in a startup? I'm gonna go ahead and go with Jamar Chase at the 3 pick. Let's see. And then mute that, because that's annoying balls. There we go. Love, it's just tough because I don't expect him to be productive this season. And so, like, you know, we can say that he's going to be like a 1-2 turn pick next season. But if he's just like kind of hanging out, not really an impact player for your lineup, not really like a good flip candidate, and again, just not producing for your roster, probably not someone I want to take at the 1-2 turn, even though I think that that's where he's going to be like pretty easily in dynasty startups next year. Like there is value and worth in actually scoring points. So I would probably take him just a little bit lower at like the 205, the 206, 207. Just that way you actually get like a value win when he's a 1-2 turn pick next off season. Like, you know what I mean? Insulated asset, but I feel like most of these guys that you're getting here are like super insulated too. I mean, maybe besides like a Jefferson who could fall off, but yeah, that's kind of where the range that I would take him. And it's more of a tier where I could definitely see you taking him at like the 203, 204, but as far back as like the 209, and wouldn't have a problem with it. Yeah, training camp, I agree with like the hype, the stuff from the coaches, this and that, but in like usage and team, who's getting reps, who's being utilized how. But like a guy just coming out in a preseason game and like having a good game against like the backups of backups, like that specifically, I'm not. Yeah, process of elimination. Number 12 in the Derby got to got us to where we needed to be. Okay, Dan did auto pick here, but Blake said that is who he wanted, or somebody said I think that is who he wanted. That is a good pick there at the 1-8. Not gonna back up on that one. Yeah, auction, so fun. Like, it's instead of like just hoping and praying that your players make it back to you, you get to like bid when you have a bid go through. It's like, yeah, you know, it's super fun. And that's the thing, is that the auction drafts do take like 2+ hours, just depending on how fast everything goes and the settings and the depth and stuff. Yeah, auctions can take a while. So the viewer leagues, I generally do $20 buy-ins, but like everything is up to the discretion of the league. If people want like to do a high stakes league or a higher stakes league of like $50 and people agree with that, then no problem. If we're like, or we can lower it as well. Majority rules, I think, for like lowering the price, but like increasing the price, like I think everyone's got to be okay with that. You know, like we join in a league, or it's got to like be asked and like try and fill the league like that up front. You know, like if someone asks for a like $100 buy-in redraft league, then we would market it as that. I just mean like a lot of the settings and the stuff like that, we can negotiate within the league, do some polls, some voting, stuff like that. So, no tight end premium. Okay, so let's actually talk about this now that the first round is over with. So Gibbs, Bijan, 101, 102 here. Not surprising. Fantastic picks, of course. High ceiling, high floor players here, very talented, all that good stuff. And then we have kind of that next tier with Jamar, my pick, Puka, McCaffrey, JSN, and Jonathan Taylor. And honestly, I wouldn't mind having like Amon-Ra in this tier as well. I'm a big Amon-Ra fan in general. Like, fantastic player. He is super consistent, plays through injuries. Like, there's just so much value in knowing that you're probably going to get like 19 and a half points per game from a player when you're drafting in the first round of a redraft league, and knowing that he is going to play through just about every injury as long as his limbs are physically attached to his body. So Amon-Ra, personally, like, I see him as more in the tier ahead rather than the tier behind here, with like the Lamb, Jefferson, Genty, Cook, and these guys that come off after. So I mean, my general redraft philosophy, and I'm sure that I'll make an entire video on this, is that in the first round, so many of these players are so good, so talented. It's like all of these guys have the upside to be like league winners, and put up 22 plus points per game, but like hitting on that guy is less hitting on like the Christian McCaffrey from last year is relatively like less valuable than not picking the guy that completely busts or misses a bunch of time with injuries, stuff like that. Obviously, like winning your league, like having the McCaffrey last year was fantastic, but you can win your league without a McCaffrey, without a Bijan if you make other good picks in your draft. If you drafted Malik Neighbors or Justin Jefferson last season, you know, your redraft team was probably just cooked unless you had like some crazy picks later in the draft. Like you would have had to have like JT and or like JSN and grab some of those later guys like Javonte. Man. So yeah, I really like the Amon-Ra pick. That was a little bit long-winded for me there. Apologies for that. But getting back on track, massive run of running backs here. This is full PPR. I don't disagree. The running back position right now in Dynasty, it dries up super quick. And I legitimately might do something kind of crazy here at the 3-3. I don't think I will. No, I probably won't. But I want to. I want to take kind of a crazy pick there, assuming that these running backs don't come back to me. But yeah, Genty, Cook, Walker, Hampton, Achane, Barkley, Chase Brown, and Derrick Henry, then Drake London and Brock Bowers. Let's see. So I just think that all of these running backs that went here are in a pretty big tier. I really like Hampton specifically. I was hoping that like Hampton or Achane or Henry would fall back to me at this pick. But yeah, nobody did. Absolutely no one did. And it's all wide receivers here. This is why I really wanted the 101 or the 102, because I really like the receivers in this range. I do not like once we get to this 2-3 turn. So honestly, I think I should have drafted in the middle. I should have picked a different one, or maybe taken the 111 and stacked like Achane and Hampton there, or something like that. Oh, man, major L. And even Love goes ahead there at the 2-9. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Rashee Rice here. Another guy that, as long as he's healthy and on the field, which that's a big question mark, he's probably gonna put up like 18 plus points per game. Yeah, stacking the running backs here on the turn. I like that. I like the Genty Hampton start in terms of like the RBs. I'm just a little bit lower on Genty, but like all these guys are in a tier. If I had been in that spot, I probably would have went like Achane and then Hampton at the 2-2 personally, but that's just personal preference in kind of ranking these running backs this season in redraft. So I think those are great picks. Getting the running back position locked down early. And I was so greedy. I was hoping that you guys would pick some more of these wide receivers like earlier, and I would be able to get like a Henry, a Chase Brown, a Barkley, somebody at this 210 spot. Oh yeah. So that's what KNX was asking me about his picks. Rome the host asked, are you a Flock League enjoyer? I've watched it the past 2 seasons, like off and on. It is just pretty fun to watch. You know, great like showmanship and stuff, but I don't think I'm gonna have time this season to really enjoy, to watch much of it. I agree, Hampton is gonna be insane. Like, honestly, I'm thinking of putting Hampton as like my RB5 here in redraft, like, and having him like ahead of like Lamb, like legitimately. That's how excited I am for Hampton. Yeah, that's more like, I understand that, but like at the same time, that's more a team situation, and being like a really good team with a really good defense you can lean on the run. I do think Genty's going to get a lot of work and get fed, but I just have a hard time seeing him have more of that like high-end outcome because the Raiders are still projected to be like a bottom 5-ish offense. And so I would just much rather have like either a guy that is going to catch a ton of passes in Achane. I think Achane could like double up on Ashton Genty's pass work this season with just the team situations. But or I want like a back in like a really talented back just like Genty, but like someone who's in a really good offense. So like a James Cook, a Derrick Henry, a Chase Brown, like Saquon, if we're hoping that if we're counting on what are their names? The Eagles to make a bounce back, like Walker with the Chiefs. So yeah. Oh, sweet, dude. Congratulations, man. That is awesome. Let's see. Okay, I need to lock in for like half a second and then I will get back to you. I have like 10 seconds. Man, the wide receivers are just such good picks here. This is crazy. No, but I'm just gonna take Jacobs. I don't like making that pick, like legitimately at all. I really wanted one of these receivers or like one of the other positions here. But yeah, I can't start 3 wide receiver with this redraft climate. Oh man, Matt, that is legitimate. When I said I was gonna make a diabolical pick, it was Scat. I was like this close to drafting Scat at the 3-3, dude. Man, I was freaking this close. But I did not like you. People were gonna rip me if I did, absolutely rip me. But I guess it's just my favorite part of watching it. Is just the showmanship part of it, the entertainment part of it. It's like it's not like real fantasy content, like, you know, oh, this player take this, that player take that, of course. It's more of like a reality TV show, but it's like integrating reality TV with fantasy, and so it's just funny. And like I have been watching a bunch of the creators in Flock for years before way before I got into making my own content. So just kind of being like more familiar with them, their takes, their personalities and stuff, like it's just like super interesting, and it's just easy to get to know everybody in the Flock League through the videos and their content and stuff. So that's what I like about it. It just really is like entertaining, and like seeing a bunch of guys who like really know what they're doing, but then obviously like half of them are gonna like fail to make the playoffs, and just all the trash talk, like the trash talk and all that stuff is like so fun. That's my favorite part of like playing fantasy football with like my friends, is just all the trash talking and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I feel about like the Flock League. The Genty has the body to wear out players over time, and they revamped their O-line, which is going to help them a lot. Yeah, it's just like that's true, but when you like actually look at like offensive line projections, like how they're projected out, they're still like, even being optimistic, like a bottom 10 line in terms of the offense as a whole, even being optimistic, probably like a bottom 8 offense. And I just don't think Genty's going to catch a ton of passes, because like he had decent like volume last year in the pass game, but like you got to think Mendoza's going to come in, he's going to check the ball down a lot less. He can use his legs whenever Mendoza's on the field. You have Brock Bowers actually healthy and in the offense. Like basically last season there was nobody to throw the ball to, especially after Myers left. And so like Brock Bowers healthy is going to take so much volume, I feel like, just away from everyone else. And I do think they're going to lean into the rushing attack more, which is just going to depress like the passing volume. And just generally when teams are leaning on a running back in the run game, they just like don't get as many checkdowns, stuff like that. So I think there's just a lot of reasons why like Genty's passing volume could actually like go down a little bit. Like, he's still a good pass catcher. He's not going to have 0, but maybe like 40 receptions, 45 receptions instead of like 55, I think is what he had. So that's just me. That's just my take on Ginty. Like, I know I'm below market. You're not wrong in any sort of way. Let's see. Smart choice on the Jacobs pick is what Camex is saying to me here. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about some picks here. So after my Rashid Rice pick, Neighbors went off at 211. I just want to say, I've been telling you guys all off season, it pays to buy low on these guys that we assume are going to be injured. Because if you bet on a guy that's got an injury that the market is assuming he's going to play, that's not what you do. What you do is you bet on and buy in on guys where it's like, oh, this guy's definitely not going to play, definitely going to miss a bunch of time. And then if things just kind of slide the other way, due to variance and circumstance and all those things, then that's when you get big wins, more specifically in Dynasty. But yeah, so good to see that Neighbors is pretty healthy, or I guess coming along better in his health than we were expecting earlier in the offseason, I'll say. Pandora's Box, this is exactly what I wanted to do. Like, this is why I really like the 101 and 102 is you go Gibbs or Bijan first, and then you just grab 2 receivers there in the 2-3 turn. Let's see, I probably would not have taken AJ Brown. I probably would have taken like Pickens or Olave above Brown personally, but like same tier, absolutely no problem. And then Nico Collins at the 3-1, I love that pick. That's fantastic pick. Breece Hall at the 3-2. Just this running back run continues. I probably again would have gone wide receiver here. And then my pick, the Scatabo pick that we already talked about, Pickens at the 3-5. That is such a good pick for Evan here. Like, getting McCaffrey and then Bowers. Don't have a wide receiver for the first 2 rounds. I don't care. George Pickens is my wide receiver 1. And he could be like a top 5 receiver. So great pick. And then we have McBride. Blake, you're killing me. Not drafting a wide receiver through the first 3, but like, I think that we talked about this recently, that like some of these later round wide receiver values are just insane right now. So this might actually be the move. Going 0 wide receiver through the first couple rounds of your draft, just because these receiver values later are just freaking nuts. Like, absolutely nuts. Like, I pretty much guarantee, I don't want to say that, but most likely I'm going to significantly prefer the, like, if we took like Henry versus London, I prefer London over Henry in a vacuum in PPR, but like the wide receiver that Blake's going to get here at the 4-6 versus the running back that UK Chief is going to get here at the 4-7, like, you make that like a 2v2 swap. I'm definitely going to be preferring the Diggs side, the Henry side of that deal here. So Blake, Sleeper Dynasty, my guy, super locked in. You're more locked in than I am, apparently. Drafting like shite. Rome the host says this running back run is insane. I agree, dude. Like, Smith, Olave, Flowers, these are guys that could be going at like the 2-3 turn, honestly. But like all these running backs are so pushed up, and I'll probably I'll definitely be watching like the draft and stuff. That's just like gonna be super fun to watch. But cannot promise how much I'll be able to tap in during the season. But definitely gonna try for you, my man. And then if you like, what is your channel name? Is it Rome the Host? Is that your channel name, or is this like your personal? Let me know. Because I want to check you out, brother. Platonically, I want to check you out. Platonic, the channel, not you. Never mind. I'll take my foot out of my mouth now. Okay. McBride at the 3-7. I think that's a good pick. I don't really Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Normally, like, the fans that do the contests are like content creators as well. Most of the people that apply. So that's sweet, man. That's sweet. No, I'm super excited. What's your name? First name only. So, you know, just what's your first name? Don't want to get too personal here. No, but that's literally that's so sweet, dude. I really like Javante at the 3-8. I feel like him and Jacobs are pretty like you can switch him. Oh, your name is literally Rome. Okay. Gotcha. No worries, brother. Okay, now we have the wide receiver run. Bunch of these guys coming off the board here. What to do? Yeah, I like the Kyron pick. I like the Olave pick. This is way too high for Loveland and redraft. Like, I get pardon, I have to wipe my nose. I get the Loveland hype in Dynasty. He's so young and stuff like that, but man, at the 310 in redraft, he could be like legitimately one of the worst picks in the draft here. Man. Ugh. Yuck. This is another gross pick, I think. But I'm going to go with David Montgomery. There's some other running backs that probably have some more upside here, but I'm like, just give me my RB2 before everything falls off. Same thing here, like the wide receiver values are just way better in a vacuum, but like I just can't do it. Cannot be cooked on running back. Like, yeah. There's some guys later that I can get that are like upside shots, but it's definitely not great. There is a player that I'm really hoping comes back to me here at the 5-3, and then I will be significantly more of a happy camper for the rest of the draft if it happens. I agree. Like, again, like that. He definitely could finish in this range, but like, you know, this drafting Loveland here is like his ceiling, and there's a lot of downside, you know, with this pick as well. It's not like Josh Allen who goes the pick behind him. Like, even if Allen has a really good season, this is getting like pretty close to his ceiling, but it's like Allen is so consistent that like I don't care. If I'm drafting him at his ceiling, because I'm so confident that he's going to produce. Yeah, like Allen was a good pick. Allen was a good pick there in the 311. A lot of years people are like taking him 5, 6, like whatever picks higher. So that's like a good Allen pick. Some of these other picks here. So I mean, Flowers and Waddle for Jamie Loft at the turn. You know, just 2 wide receivers. Waddle, I would have taken like Higgins and Smith and some other guys, honestly, ahead of Waddle here. But if Waddle's your guy, like Waddle's your guy. Burden then, so K-Max is wide receiver 1, super high upside pick for that wide receiver 1. Obi-Wan, I am going to come to your house and punch you if you take the player that I want here. I hope that you know that. I'm not, for legal purposes, I'm not actually going to do that. I don't know where you live, but that's how I'm going to feel. That will be how I feel. Let's go. Okay. So, yo, 121, brother, you cannot be name dropping out here, okay? You could have ruined my whole night, my guy. But yeah, Lamar, talk about him in the video that is about to drop, the redraft players. The other thing is that I didn't want to drop my favorite players in redraft before we drafted. But Lamar, so he like absolutely has more upside than Allen on like a per game, maybe not like a per game basis, but like a per year like season finish. Lamar just like has higher fantasy upside than Allen. Allen, of course, is the better pick because he is so consistent, does not get hurt. But that is like again, Lamar misses time, whatever, but that has always been priced in for Lamar Jackson. And so like every year he does go a little bit behind Allen. This is just way like further down the board than he usually goes. And so like a one season where Lamar is banged up and has a bad season, like that's always been Lamar. That shouldn't surprise like anybody that is like in the range of outcomes. So like basically nothing has changed with Lamar this season. If anything, added some receiving weapons, some like new offensive coordinator. Maybe we see more utilization in the red zone. Maybe we see some more passing attempts here, and like dropbacks for Lamar, stuff like that. And you just know, like the kind of guy that Lamar is, he is going to come out with a vengeance this season after what happened last year. So getting him over a full round after Allen, fantastic. He honestly, I probably could have just taken him at the 410 and still gotten Montgomery at the 5-3, but like I did not want these guys at the turn here to like take Monty and Hendo, like and Judkins, and like all these guys. So love Lamar right now, here in the redraft price. I think that he could go as early as like Bucky Irving or Tet or Igbuka, like the mid fourth, easily would pick him there. Well, you know, glad you didn't feel like punching anyone tonight, but Pandora's box almost went Lamar with his picks. Now, dude, your turn, like Ladd and Wilson, that is absolutely insane value at the 4-5 turn there. At the wide receiver position, like that is nuts. Like you literally have Ladd, McConkey, and Garrett Wilson as your two like flex spots right now, and like you can hunt. I mean, the RB2 spot is up in the air. Of course, gonna have to figure that out, but like you can still get a good quarterback, a good tight end, like in the 8th, 9th, 10th rounds, or like you maybe like punt one of those entirely and just take a bunch of shots at like RB or something. But no, like Pandora, your draft right now, one of my favorite, with all of these like sick wide receiver values that you've been picking up. Let's see. So after my pick at Monty, we had, I guess I haven't really talked about the mid fourth, like Higgins, Smith, McMillan, Adams, Igbuka, like all good picks there as well. I think Higgins is another guy that's pretty underrated here, in like redraft specifically. I do not mind the Bucky pick at all, by Blake here. Was my favorite RB on the board left, and I definitely see what Blake's doing here at the 7 spot. Let's see, and then after like McLaurin and Evans, I think that those were like two decent picks at price. But like the Ladd and Wilson is just kind of nuts. I do like McLaurin, I do like Evans. It's just like these, when you're drafting these older veteran guys, like you just never know which one of them is gonna break down and just not do anything. Like out of Adams, McLaurin, and Evans, like I guarantee that one of those three guys is gonna give you like basically a zero burger of a season. But like it's just I don't know which one, and like one of them is probably gonna pop off and be like a low end wide receiver 1. and be like a 16, 17 point per game guy. And then one of them's probably just going to be more like a 14, 15 and like pay off at price. Just range of outcomes kind of a thing. So, but those were like decent picks at price. I definitely understand like the Henderson, Judkins, and Tootin coming off here. The running backs are just going so freaking high this season. It's crazy. It really is. It's crazy. JMO for Blake's first wide receiver. Decent like floor play in terms of like season long outcomes. Pretty confident that JMO is like going to do JMO things. So I don't know. Honestly, I probably would have gone like higher upside, like a Tate or somebody. With this pick, maybe you're just really high on JMO here, but I feel like you can get a JMO type of guy. Like you can take shots on those kinds of players like multiple rounds later. Tyler Warren, way better pick of Warren here at the 5'8" than like, in my opinion, than Loveland at the 310. I'm pretty high on Warren this season. I'm just super surprised that people aren't like higher on him given that Michael Pittman left. Like super surprised. Chuba Hubbard at the 5'9". That is, I like Chuba. But this is a bit of a reach, my friend. He is normally going more in like the 8th round, even in these RB hungry settings. So don't hate the pick, but I also don't like think that you needed to take him here. Swift at the 6'1" though, honestly, I think he was just buried in ADP, and I'm just too busy running my mouth to really be like analyzing and stuff. And so he's a fantastic pick. That is a fantastic pick. Like I'd have him like right at the same level as Montgomery in terms of like my redraft projections and expectations. So like, and you got him like 13, 14 picks later. So that was a fantastic pick of DeAndre Swift. And honestly, like I probably would have taken Swift over maybe not Henderson, but probably like Judkins, Tootin, and Hubbard there. I'm gonna try a little bit harder with my next pick and be a little bit more locked in here. Drake May, you know, I think that Lamar should be going a bit above like Drake May and Jackson Dart. I do like those guys, you know, upside young QBs, could both finish as like top 3 QBs this season pretty easily, but like I think Lamar at the 5'3" is just a much better like price. And then Parker Washington at the 5'12", that is aggressive. But honestly, it's also kind of not, because this is just the range where Washington and BTJ both have been going. So I take it back. I apologize. But seeing Parker Washington at the 5'12" is just like, whoa, kind of gut wrench reaction. Okay, so I went Lamar. I have 30 seconds. This is a drop off. Absolutely. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and grab Jordan Tyson, get a little bit of young upside up in here, and we'll see what happens. So you're going to love my next pick. What did you do, Amex? You got Tate, and you took my Kraft. If Kraft had been on the board there, I would have loved to grab him, even though I took Lamar already. So that was a very good Kraft pick as well. Super, super happy with that. Or I think you should be super happy with that pick. Personally, I think it's a good pick. Marv was another guy I almost went. Honestly, like I was thinking, there's another guy here that I think is a pretty solid pick at this price, but that I'll talk about when he goes off the board. But Guy in my league got Lamar for a 28 first, Brooks and Brissett. Dude, it's nuts. Like, whenever I'm moving a high-end asset, or I'm trying to move a high-end asset, and I'm not getting what I feel like is a very good deal, I'll like throw it in the league and just be like, hey, I'm about to make a deal with the, selling this player. This is about the price that we're looking at here. Like, does anyone want to, does anyone else interested? Especially if I'm not like super confident in the trade. I usually am super confident in my high-end trades, but like I had a bad trade that I made where I sent away like Jeremiah Love for Cam Scatterbo and Arnell Tate, and I added Christian Watson onto the deal. I was just like in bed, like late at night, like on the sleeper app, just kind of messing around before I went to sleep, and I like forgot that I'm just lower on Love and way higher on Scat than the market. Like, I probably could have gotten that deal done without including Christian Watson. Not that I'm like beating myself up over like, oh, lost out on Christian Watson. I'm screwed, but it would have been better to not give up that extra asset. So I definitely have made some questionable trades where I should have questioned in the league, like, hey, what are we doing? Anyone interested in making a deal? This is the price, stuff like that. So definitely like throw stuff out to your league before you make those big trades. You never know when someone's going to want to beat your price. Pandora's Box, very happy to see Ladd there, first draft that I got him. Yeah, I mean, especially if the running backs didn't get pushed up so much, like maybe if we were in like a start 3 wide receiver league instead of a 2 flex, which I thought about. I think if I do another redraft league, I think that I will make it a start 3 wide receiver, 1 flex, and see how that goes. But like Ladd is a guy that could like legitimately go at like the early 3rd round in these drafts, and like I've legitimately seen him be drafted there. So that was a good price for him. And Garrett Wilson as well. This is just like, this is too low for him. I know there's questions, but like this is just a really good price for Wilson too. Yeah, dude, that was a gross pick. But I mean, I wish I could have scooped up some of these wide receiver values in the 3rd and 4th round, but like I'm happy that I got Jacobs and Monty so that I didn't have to like make disgusting picks in this range. Okay, I'm gonna hope that some of these guys that I'm interested in come back to me. Oh, man. And I'm just gonna take Dowdle. I think Dowdle could be really good. And again, like with how running back hungry this league is right now, and again, everyone, all redraft content right now, like running backs are just flying off the draft board. So that's another bit of a gross pick. So if you can get these running backs early, like Blake did with JT Henry, like Cam X, like Jay Lamoff did the back end, like this is why I like the back end, is because you can actually get 2 of these running backs. You don't have to reach at all. But my hope was that one of these running backs would fall in the 3rd, and then at the 303 I would have been able to draft a Pickens or an Olave. Like if Love had been there, I might have gone Love. Definitely if like Henry or Barkley or Brown were there, that would have been great. Dang. Daniels at the 7-5 behind Dart, Hurts, and Prescott. Evan, man, if I would have known that I could have gotten Daniels at the 703, I would not have taken Lamar at the 5-3. Like Daniels, how do I want to put this? just sneak peek to the video, I guess. Daniels is my QB3 in redraft. Same thing as Lamar. He had an injury-riddled season. That sucks. You know, maybe that's something that we bake into his price a little bit, but he's one of these guys that rushes a ton, has a ton of like efficiency on the ground too. And I think I have him and Drake May like really close, but like I just got to give the edge to Daniels. I think that May probably regresses a little bit and his production is more replaceable. Like Daniels, I think could like finish as the QB1. Like I you know, that is a good would be a good bet to make. Would be like just put money on Daniels. I don't know if there's like lines for that, but like Jaden Daniels is the QB1 in fantasy. Like boom, enter. I'd put money on decent amount of money on that, depending on what the line was. But based on the draft board, it's like not a high line. So excellent Jaden Daniels pick here. Let's see. Obi-Wan said, Prob's the guy that lives next to the electrical substation is the one that's going to miss time. But Zachary says, I think Evans is going to be sick. Terry is the one that he's worried about. I'm honestly worried about Adams. I know that the Rams are going to be like a good offense, but like even with that massive touchdown volume, he wasn't like that productive. I know he had a high finish. But I think that was more just because a bunch of other high-end wide receivers disappointed. Where like another year, Adams is like, what was it, like 15.5 points per game? Like that could have been like legitimately like a mid wide receiver 2 finish. If just like random chance things rolled out differently. Like he just seemed to fall off a lot in terms of efficiency and like his target consolidation, his yards. So it's like, if he continues to fall off and like the touchdowns aren't there, QJ going off the board, he's a guy that I'm pretty high on for this season too. He's a guy that I was thinking about at the 6'10". Laporta was another guy I was thinking about at the 6'10". Let's see, but where was I? I totally lost my freaking train of thought. Oh yeah, we were talking about like Evans, Terry, and Devontae. But yeah, like Devontae makes me nervous because he was good enough. Still, he hadn't fallen off to the point where he couldn't score all those touchdowns. He was still a massive red zone threat. What if he like takes one more step down and he only has like 8 touchdowns or something, and his yardage and his targets drop too? Like Adams is the one that of course he could just repeat what he did and be good. I'm not saying he's like a bad pick, but out of those 3, he's actually the one that I'm personally like the least confident in this season. But that's like a really interesting conversation. You know, just like 3 vets, all project out pretty similarly, all like drafted in the same range, similar age. So, you know, it's an interesting conversation to have who you like in that range. Parker Washington hype cannot be contained. It physically can't be. We are not containing the Parker Washington hype in this draft. Kamek said that he wanted Swift. Yeah, like if Swift had come back around to you at the 7-11, or wow, I can't count, at the 6-2, that would have been a good pick there. I understand going Tate because you don't have like the wide receiver position well in hand, or I guess at least, I mean, you still don't. Like Burden, Tate, Wilson, like those are all upside shots. And so probably want to be looking at stacking more receivers here in these later rounds, but like I totally understand going Tate over Swift given the wide receiver room. Would have been a smash pick at the 6-2. That's where you could have got him. Yeah, struggle is real. And then Yo said, I hate this part of the draft. Are you drafting with us, Yo? Are you one of the, I just don't know people's handles. Are you in the draft? Or are you just talking generally? Just curious. Yeah, but like, honestly, I was so hyped for Lamar at the 5-3, and I wasn't really looking at the board. It came back around to me here at Tyson, and I was like, dang, there is like almost nobody left. Like, I'm not particularly high on Tyson, for like redraft purposes this season. But man, like he was just the best pick, at least not counting Jaden Daniels. He was the best pick left on the board for me. And Pandora's Box said that he liked the Tyson pick well. Can someone give me the case? This is Zachary asking. Can someone give me the case for Kraft so much higher than Laporta? Lions offense seems like a great environment. Laporta has done it before. Like Kraft, so last year Kraft was at like 16 points per game before he got injured. And like I know like big plays, touchdowns, but that like we're contributing to that a lot, these spike weeks. But that's how Tucker Kraft plays. Like that is him as a player. And so like it's, I don't know, it's like it shouldn't be surprising that a guy like him has that type of like production profile. Whereas like Laporta, so Kraft is a guy that has like the upside, I feel like, to finish as the tight end one potentially. Of course, has some major hurdles with like Bowers and McBride, but he could be like the tight end 1, tight end 2 pretty easily if he comes back, is healthy, and like picks up where he left off. Laporta is more like a floor play, so I like Laporta a lot. You know, absolutely nothing against Laporta. He's just more of like a floor play, and that is just like less valuable here in like the redraft sense. Kraft just like, at least from what we've seen, has more of that like high-end upside outcome available. I do want to point out I like Hage here stacking Dobbins and Harvey. Of course, like these two guys, not super excited to pick, but getting them both and just saying, hey, as long as one of these guys is productive, I do not care. I'll figure it out between those guys. Maybe you pick up Coleman in the later rounds too, and you just like kind of have all of these guys together, locked down. But in this, especially when like the running back scene is so gross, Blake, I freaking hate you. I freaking hate you, my friend. That is who I wanted at the 8-10. Honestly, I was seriously considering picking Addison over Dowdle, but I was like, oh no, Addison's ADP is buried. He'll never get picked. I forgot I was drafting with you. Son of a, never mind. Not gonna say it. But yeah, great freaking pick, especially with how your wide receiver room is looking. Like, freaking fantastic Addison pick, my friend. Yeah, and Pandora's Box, that's pretty much it. Like, Laporta's just capped, and I love Laporta, but he is just kind of capped here, in the Lions offense. Let's see. Burden finishes at a wide receiver 1 level this season. Yeah, and that is the upside, right? Like, Burden has a ton of upside, but at the same time, he has a ton of downside, and so you've got to be kidding me. Oh my goodness. Double sniped on the guys whose ADP you have to like scroll down like a madman to find. Oh my gosh. I also really wanted Michael Pittman. Oh. Okay. We're fine. We're okay. We are okay. I will... Let's see. I'm just going to take Alec Pierce. I like him too. But man, I wanted to go Pittman with this pick. Or Addison. But you guys took him from me. Yeah, K-Max, like, absolutely in the range of outcomes for Burden. But also he could be like a wide receiver 3. You know, like, I, again, like the Burden pick. Like it in that range. It's just like, you've got 3 guys that none of them have like super strong like floors, and so that's just why I'm like a little worried about it. If Burden and Tate are both like hit to their higher end outcomes, your team is going to be like unstoppable, legitimately. Like, it's going to be one of the best teams in the league, probably a bye week team. But it's like, if Tate is really disappointing, if Burden's really disappointing, or at the very least just not like super exciting, then it could get tough. It could get tough. But again, I like both of those picks. It's just that there's a lot of risk going on at the wide receiver position. He said it was out of RB desperation. Yeah, no, like it's legitimately great. Like I think that drafting at the front end and getting Bijan and Gibbs, like that sounds really good, but then in practice, it's like I would rather be one of these back half picks where you can stack 2 of the running backs and then just not have to worry about it. I should have, if I could have gone back, I would have maybe I probably would have picked it, like if I could go back, redo everything at like the 108 or 109, taken 2 running backs, and then gotten like the Olave pick or something. That would have been really, really sweet. But yeah, the running backs this season just they're going crazy high compared to next season. Yeah, like Addison, fantastic pick. Absolutely would not be surprised if he was like the wide receiver 14 in points per game, something like that. Like, great pick. And yeah, Tom agrees too. Like, always drafts with Vikings fans, so you never get him. That's a shame. Yeah, that's a shame. Like, it sucks when you know that someone is a massive fan of a team. Like, I think last year, based on my draft position, my home league, like I was like, oh, I'm gonna take Breece Hall here in like the mid to late third, and that wouldn't have been a great pick. It would have been better than my like Marion Hampton pick, because Hampton missed like the entire season. But basically, a Jets fan was in the lobby, was in the league, and took him like in the mid second, way ahead of ADP. So I definitely feel that. And there was another guy that I was hoping to grab, hoping he came back around. But I think at this point, I'm probably just going to punt tight end almost entirely. And then, yeah, you'll have to let me know who you're thinking about, boss. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. I guess I'm taking Cortland Sutton with this pick because I did not pay attention. Oh well, that's fine. Probably not the guy that I would have liked to take there, but I'm fine with going Sutton with that pick. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna change it. I'm better than that. I'm better than that. Yeah, I didn't need another wide receiver, and I was gonna have to scroll down to find the next like running back in ADP, or like switch over to the like running back thing. Like I had like 3 seconds, and so it was basically like whoever was at the top of the ADP, like I just needed to grab somebody, and so that's what happened. But I agree, not a bad pick. I don't hate Sutton there, but yeah, Pittman, great pick. Addison, good pick. I like Godwin there. I like Reed. And this is why I'm like, legitimately, just give me like do what Blake did. Give me like 3, maybe not like exactly that, but like with McBride, I probably would like to have at least 1 wide receiver in the first like 3 or 4 rounds, but like anchor wide receiver, or like dual RB star, maybe even 3 RBs out of the gate, because these, like, you're getting good wide receivers this late in the draft. And like Dowdle was Dowdle was a bit of like, everyone here is like a reach, like, but once you get down to this like 6th round at the running back position, honestly, like I think in a vacuum, I would probably rather have some of the like wide receivers that went behind like Hendo, Judkins, and Tootin. So like stacking the RBs early, you just avoid having to overpay for any of them later. And I feel like it's just going to give you a better draft. So, but hey, this is my first, like, my own draft that I'm doing. I tag team to draft with Boot from Smash Accept. But you know, when you're doing it with somebody, like you're only controlling like half the picks and stuff. And it was a Yahoo draft. It was a 10 team, so in half PPR, so it was a little different. But yeah, we're learning. This is a learning experiment, and we're getting smarter. We're getting smarter here. But yeah, Blake, your draft right now. Big fan with like the process that you're putting down here. That is who I think I would have taken with my pick, is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He's a guy that I'm pretty high on this season, and just like the positional value. Guys like Sutton, Diggs, yeah, and like Jacoby Myers absolutely project out better. But in terms of like a guy that could smash his ADP in this range, like if JCM like beats out the other guys for the backfield, like if the Commanders offense is cooking, like JCM could be a really smash pick. There has not really been much QB quarterback movement here. Like the quarterbacks are not going off the board. Definitely don't like disagree with that. For me, unless like, okay, I'll say this, like once Allen, Lamar, and Daniels are off the board, like unless Drake May falls super low or like Jackson Dart is super low, I'm probably just not grabbing a quarterback until like the end of the draft, just because like there are guys like Herbert that just went off. I like Herbert quite a bit. I think he could be super productive, but like realistically, probably not, unless he hits like a super high-end outcome, of course, like with this exciting Chargers offense. But unless he hits like 22, 23 points per game, there are just other guys that you're probably getting pretty replaceable production from. Yeah, I mean, you guys know what's up. Some of these leagues, like, it's a shame. It is a shame that I'm drafting with people that know what they're doing, because these like Yahoo drafts that I've seen, it's ridiculous. Like some of these redrafts, it's just ridiculous. And like honestly, like, even like the like underdog ADP, I talk about that quite a bit, or like I reference that in the video. It's kind of what I'm comparing to, for like my rankings versus the underdog ADP. Even the underdog ADP is just like, there's some players that are just absolutely cooked in that ADP, and it's just nuts. But you guys know what you're doing. The people that are watching this channel, they are real fantasy sickos, and they know what they're doing. Let's see. Old man Kelsey's got one more in him. Let's hope so. I don't know if he does, but this range, like that's super low risk like pick. Like even if Kelsey's dust, like you can get a waiver wire tight end, and then like get decent tight end production. So I think he's definitely a fine pick. Love Kelsey, like I do, like fantastic player. He's been on the downtrend, so I'm worried about him, is what I'll say. He could be good again. I'm just worried. Pandora said he's pretty happy with the Burrow pick. Yeah, I do think that that was a pretty decent Burrow pick, but at the same time, it's like Herbert's there, that could definitely outscore Burrow, like T-Law, Purdy, some of these guys that haven't come off the board yet. And I know I name dropped. I'm a bastard, but like I do like Burrow. He does have a lot of like a pretty good upside. That's not a bad pick, but for me, I'm just like, man, like any of those guys could outproduce Burrow this season that I just mentioned. So, but it's like someone's got to take the first one off the board. You know, like with Dak, like Dak had to come off at a certain point. Hurts, Burrow, getting Burrow like a round and a half after like Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, like that's pretty good. That's really good. Like that's compared to that, that's a really good pick. But that's just how I see it. totally fine pick. I just would rather try and hit like the last guy in that tier, or like punt even further. Almost went big JD. Oh yeah, at the 7-1, he would have been a really good pick at the 7-1, man. He would have been a really good pick, for sure. KMX got the 2 wide receivers that he wanted in Jacoby Myers and Romeo Doubs. Yeah, I mean, with your wide receiver room, I think just getting 2 guys that are like floor plays, like super reasonable. And luckily, nobody sniped me on my guy, Dallas Goedert. Thank goodness. Let's see. I'm gonna count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Dallas Goedert comes off the tight end 13 here. In our draft, I would have drafted him realistically is like probably the tight end 7, tight end 8 maybe. Very high on Goedert. With AJ Brown leaving, like Goedert over the past 3 seasons, and I use like a comparison tool. Rodriguez there, that's a good pick. I really like the Rachaad White pick as well. I was hoping White would come back to me. Of course, I'm drafting with freaking Blake. I can't do anything. I can't have fun. But good Rachaad White pick. But yeah, like, okay, I was saying I used like a compare tool, so I didn't like actually go and do it myself. But over the past 3 years in this tool, it showed that Goedert actually has outscored Devontae Smith in the absence of AJ Brown. By like it's only a little bit, like 0.3 like points per game or something. So like AJ Brown leaving, like I think does a lot of good for Goedert as well as Smith, but like nobody is looking at Goedert as somebody that is like, oh, AJ Brown left, he gets a boost. Like just legitimate, like nobody is on that wavelength that at least that I've seen, and especially in the ADP, like nobody's talking about Dallas Goedert. And I think that Addison and Pittman are super underpriced in redraft. I'd put Goedert at least in like underdog ADP stuff. Like that's kind of the baseline that I've been using, but Goedert is up there with those guys in like the most mispriced players for sure, in my humblest of humble opinion. So KMX said, I've been doing fantasy since 2014. You got a veteran here, knows what he's doing. So like you are always constantly learning things every year, having to adapt and just being able to adapt to an ever-changing league. And that's what's so fun about fantasy football and stuff, and like Dynasty. If you, let's say we go back to 2014 and you're like the best fantasy football player in 2014, like that doesn't mean you're going to be, or you know, like maybe you're the most successful. That doesn't mean you're going to be successful the next year. You know, you could get absolutely chopped. If you don't continue to learn, you don't change, stuff like that. So I totally agree with you. Like and I think what makes a good like fantasy and dynasty player or manager, is the adaptability, not being like stuck in your state of mind. Like that is what makes, in my opinion, people like good at this game. So completely agree. Man, it's dry out here. Let's look by position, see if there's anyone interesting. I'm tempted to like double tap tight end here. But I think I'm just gonna take Sharp. Like not a sexy pick, and I think that like there's just not a big reason for me to like get multiple tight ends in this range. Like the guys that I would be picking probably pretty comparable to like waiver wire guys. So that's my thought with that, and just take like an upside shot on maybe like Sharp comes back, stuff like that. So especially since I'm weak at the running back position here specifically. Let's see. I'm gonna plan out my next pick real quick. So then I can get back to yapping at you guys. Put some guys up here that I could be interested in. Yeah, this shallow format, I'm probably, especially with how actually I'm not gonna say that. I'm still gonna think. I'm thinking about it. Good Trevor Lawrence pick there at the 11-7. Bro, at 8-12 is GG, you win. I don't know. It sounds like something a Bengals fan would. I don't know. Beats me though. I didn't want Kittle as my tight end 1. Yeah. Kittle is a good pick. Like the 9-12 here, or not the 9-12, the 9-2, and Bo Nix. Good pick by Dan here. Thanks for drafting with us, Dan. I haven't gotten to talk to you in a while, my friend, but thanks for hopping in, hanging out, and all that. But I think that's a very good Bo Nix pick. Very, very good pick. But basically Kittle, like, I think that, and basically Jake Tonjes is not a guy that I think that like actually should be drafted in redraft, but like I think it's totally reasonable. Pardon me, I need a drink. I think it is totally reasonable to go Kittle, and then with your last pick, just grab Jake Tonjes, because Tonjes was like productive whenever Kittle was missing time. So if Kittle's, you basically handcuff your tight end, which is kind of gross, but like the upside of the San Francisco offense and Kittle, and also honestly Jake Tonjes when he was the starting tight end, like it's honestly really good, like massive upside here. So like if I were you, you do whatever you want, but if I were you, I'd probably just grab Tonjes. I guess not you, but Obi-Wan. It's Andrew who actually drafted Kittle, because you didn't draft Kittle. But yeah, that's about it. The Oronde Gadsden pick there, I like. Deebo Samuel, that's a good pick. I was thinking about Deebo with my last pick, but I don't know. I didn't really want to grab a 6th wide receiver. Here I wanted to hit the running back position, but that's a good pick too. Max said, I really did think QB would have went sooner, though. Definitely surprising to see it with only being 4-point touchdown. It makes sense. So this is what happened. Last season, all of the elite quarterbacks like got injured or like didn't play the whole season, or like for whatever reason just were not very good. Like Herbert and like the offense falling apart and stuff. Like let's go through, like Allen and May, like those were the two guys that were like healthy and productive. I'll scroll down a little bit. Those were the two guys that were actually like healthy and productive. But then Lamar Jackson hurt, missed a bunch of time. Jackson Dart was productive over stretches, didn't start the season, was injured late in the season, had that weird like 2-point fantasy game where the Giants just like gave the ball to Tyrone Tracy up the middle like 50 times. Weird as heck. So like his season was all like, obviously he's an exciting young player, but his season wasn't like start to finish like a good fantasy season necessarily, because of like missing time, not starting, and some of those weird games coming off of injury. And then Jalen Hurts, total fall off, not total, but like obviously he was not the same Jalen Hurts in terms of production that we've seen in previous seasons. Mahomes hurt late in the season after coming on like very strong. Herbert, offense fell apart. Burrow hurt. And like honestly, Caleb Williams, like going down the board even more. Caleb Williams was kind of disappointing too. Like he had a fine season, but didn't really like exceed expectations in the way that we might have hoped. So like it was basically like having Allen or May, and then maybe like Trevor Lawrence down the stretch, and like and Dak Prescott. Like Dak was pretty good, but like other than that, like QB kind of sucked last year, just overall. Like and you definitely feel that drafting this season, and that's why I really don't want Allen this season, because you can get Lamar in the 5th, you can get Jaden Daniels in the 6th or the 7th round, and you can get like Lawrence, Nix, Mahomes in like the 11th round. Like last year, basically, like Allen was moved up, I don't know, like 8 picks or so. I think he was like a early 3rd QB, but then like every other quarterback, and of course like guys were moved around, like they're not ranked in the same spot. Like everyone else was like 2 spots higher, or like 2 rounds higher, right? Like Lamar was also a 3rd round pick. The QB like Daniels and Burrow and May and some of these actually May was a little lower, but like Hurts and Daniels, they were like 4th round picks. So like and then like Burrow and Kyler and some of these other guys were like 7th, 8th round picks. Now it's like the QB4 in this draft is off at like the 6-4 instead of the 4-4. So just the whole QB position's really depressed, and I think that where that lends itself to like upside and good value is either getting like the Lamar, the Daniels, maybe a Drake May, maybe like a Dart, something like that here in like the 5th or 6th round, or getting like Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy here in literally the 12th. Like nuts value. I like the Jalen McMillan pick. Well, yeah, basically my monologue for the QB position as a whole this season is just like being way underpriced. Ooh, fun fact, I know Goddard's cousin IRL, and it's hilarious how tall she is. You know what? I believe that. You know what? Dallas Goedert seems like a guy that would be really fun to hang out with. Like kind of like Travis Kelce. Like Kelce, so I'm from Kansas City. Kind of like a Chiefs fan and stuff. And I like know a lot of people who have interacted with Travis Kelce. He's just like a nice guy, like fun to hang out with and stuff. Like obviously he has the podcast with Jason, and like they're super fun. But like I feel like Goddard is another one of those guys. It's just would be like a fun guy to hang out with. 2018 and 2019 were rough years. Had to change. Yeah, coming back to like just to being able to change, keep up with how things are going. So I totally agree. JMO said he's not biased, that he likes Burrow. So, dude, honestly, I talked about this with Blake the other day. Like, this just feels like the Bengals have their issues, like, a lot with the injuries and just everything. But every once in a while, like, everything lines up for them as, like, a team. This feels like one of the years, and I can't guarantee it, but just like the vibes, it feels like one of the years where everything is going to line up for the Bengals, and Chase and Higgins and Burrow are all going to like explode in fantasy. So, but I make no guarantees there. Yeah, they're gonna explode. Make no guarantees, but I definitely see it. I think Higgins specifically is a good price. Very obviously, you're not getting any sort of discount on Jamar Chase, like first wide receiver off the board in most of these drafts. I mean, I wouldn't mind having like Puka over him, grabbing Puka instead of Jamar. I like Puka a lot as well, but yeah, definitely would not be surprised if like this Bengals offense incredible. I was gonna get Debo, got sniped, went for a backup tight end. Yeah, I like Gadsden there. He does have a lot of upside. The camp stuff is concerning. You know, and okay, Kyler Murray. I'm gonna go Kyler. You know, Lamar Jackson does get injured. He does miss time, and so I'm like, I'm gonna grab another QB here just to hedge my bets. There's not really good skill position players left on the board, to be honest. It's very dry out here. So I'm just gonna grab Kyler. And oh man, I was thinking of Jonah Coleman as for my next pick. Here up off the board. So I was thinking like, oh, I'll just get like a high floor like backup just so I don't have to like hit the waiver wire. You know, there's a lot of these guys in the late rounds that are super droppable, and if you don't get one of the like wide receivers or running backs that's pretty interesting, it's like people just start picking up QBs to fill the last couple spots on their bench. And so you can like get in a spot where it's pretty dicey like mid-season if Lamar were to go down with an injury. So just gonna grab like kind of a not handcuff, but you know, a QB2 here. And I was thinking like higher floor guy, or that's what I was interested in grabbing. And then I was like, wait, like Kyler is not a high floor player. What am I talking about? So Pitt went ahead and picked him anyways, even though he's more of a high ceiling instead of a high floor. But I guess I just have two high ceiling QBs there. Let's see. Yeah, I don't want to grab another tight end. That's where the value is. I could go with like a rookie running back, but I'm gonna go with a player that I really like for my last pick in Tank Dell. Let's see if he can come back off the injury and be anything. Yeah, totally agree with you, JMO. QB value crazy. Gotta head out a bit early. Good draft. Love some of your teams here. Looking forward to the season. Yeah, man. I think that you drafted a pretty good team here overall. Do not love like the RB2 spot, but like Lamb, Olave, Higgins, Barkley, good picks. Travis Hunter, massive upside pick. So you know, I just got to get that RB2 spot figured out and stream tight end pretty much. Okay, I think it's much. Allen at the end of the day puts you in a position to win week fantasy. I think Allen with a good fantasy team in particular make matchup nightmare. Yeah, like Allen's fantastic. Like I think that is right where Josh Allen should be going in fantasy. He's like super valuable, super consistent. It's just that like no other quarterback is really going where I think they're 80. So like I don't think that makes Allen like a worse pick here. He's still a good pick. It's just like maybe not best pick. Yep. And that's the thing. Allen's consistent and he's productive. So there's going to be QBs later down in the draft board that, especially per price, outperform Allen. Maybe, you know, potentially who it is to a high degree. But with you draft Allen, you know what you're getting. You don't really even need to draft a QB2. Like I felt like I should do when I picked Lamar. So not a bad pick at all. At the 311 especially. So let's do some quick like team review things as the last round of the draft finishes out. The 1-1 Pandora's box. Amazing wide receiver value. Like good pick I think in Laporta and Burrow, just finishing out that like starting lineup in the 7th, 8th round with Laporta and Burrow. The problem here is of course going to be the RB2 spot, but your quarterback starter, very strong. Tight end starter strong. Flex starters are strong. So no one's gonna have like super strong players through their like entire draft. There's gonna be weaknesses in every roster. Unfortunately for you, it's your RB2 spot. I would prefer to have like my flex or my tight end or my quarterback spot be the shakier one, but you got such good values at wide receiver. Like, I think you're going to be totally fine. Let's see. Obi-Wan here at the 1-2. It's kind of the similar thing. Have the elite RB up top, good wide receiver values here. With like, I guess I feel like you didn't get as good of like just value fallers. Neighbors I think is a good pick. Like McLaurin, Evans, those are both picks that I really like. Marv, good pick. I like that as well. And Godwin, I also think was a good pick. So I think there's a bunch of good picks here, but just maybe not quite like value fallers like that Pandora's box got. But of course, you actually have Breece Hall for your RB2 spot, so that is the advantage there. And then my draft, Chase Rice, so went like double wide receiver up top. Do not really recommend doing that in the future. I'll try not to. I made my own bed picking the 103 position. I also think it's totally reasonable if you wanted to take like a CMC or a Jonathan Taylor at the 1-3. It sucks like kind of giving up Chase and Puka, but in terms of team build, like I could have gone like if I would have had a running back here, I could have gone like Rice Pickens and I probably would have felt better about that start, having like CMC and then like Rice Pickens or Neighbors like Pickens or Nico, whatever. Bunch of good wide receivers here. So I'm not like super happy with the draft, but I think it was like a solid draft. I don't think I have any like glaring weaknesses, but it's also like I only had a couple of picks that I actually felt pretty good about making, where I'm like, oh yeah, like this is a good pick. And I did like all my running back picks, I think were a bit of a reach with like Jacobs, Monty, and Dowdle. Who cares about Charbonnet? Yeah. So like not super happy, not stoked, but you guys are a tough room to draft with. Matt Hugh, I like the start here, getting like Love, Scat, and Hendo like for your running backs. That's not a ton of floor at the running back position, but that's a ton of upside. You also have Puka, I guess, and Adams apparently. I guess that's probably why you went Stafford, just get that correlation for your QB2 spot. And then double tapping Pitts and Kincaid. I think that where I don't really love your draft, I like the first couple picks, the first 5 picks, but once we get down to like the DJ Moore, didn't really love that pick, or Dak I think was a bit of a reach. But I mean, honestly, like the DJ Moore pick, I can't blame you because like there's such a teardrop there. I think Daniels at the 6-9 probably would have been the best pick on the board. But yeah, and then double tapping tight end here. Don't hate it, but I don't think that you needed to grab like 3 guys at the tight end position. You could have grabbed like another wide receiver or running back. I do like the Aaron Jones pick. He could definitely just be the starter and be like a solid RB2 potentially. So don't really love what happened here specifically, but that's just my opinion. Hickman here, McCaffrey, Bowers, Pickens, Igbuka, Judkins. Let's see. There's a lot of upside with this roster, but there's like basically zero floor here. Like McCaffrey's pretty risky. I mean, we can say that Bowers has a high floor, but it's like of like 15 or 16 points. He's probably going to be a top 3 tight end no matter what happens, as long as he doesn't miss like half the season again. But like having a tight end that only scores like 15 points per game, not really like the 2-8 worthy. So I think he's like a fairly high floor pick here, but not like the highest floor, just because even if you're like the tight end one, if you're only like 14, 15 points per game, then like it's not worthy of like a second round pick. Kind of need Bowers to hit a higher end outcome, I feel like, to justify this price, which he definitely can do. But it's, you know, it's kind of, I feel like the Bowers pick is a little risky because there's just so many other tight ends that you can get way later that could match his production. But yeah, Pickens, I think I like the Pickens pick a lot. That's high floor, but like Igbuka way up in the air, Judkins way up in the air, Odunze way up in the air through these middle rounds, and then with McCaffrey, like that is just quite a bit of risk. That being said, I do like the Judkins pick where you got him. I like the Pickens, I like CMC, I like Daniels, I like the Pittman pick, the Diggs pick as well. So with Pickens and Diggs, it's not Pickens, with Pittman and Diggs, I think that you got some good floor wide receiver production. If like Rome, Igbuka, like these guys don't if they don't work out, how we hope. The 1-6, the other dual wide receiver start, and you, my friend, I think are feeling the exact same pain that I did. Kyren at the 3-6 really is not a pick that I like making, but like I get it because of just how much these running backs are pushed up. McMillan at the 4-7, I think that's like a solid pick. And then like Tootin upside, Brian Thomas upside, but like Stevenson, Jordan Mason, Tyrone Tracy, like probably not guys that you want to put in your starting lineup ever. If things happen like we expect. Stevenson could come out and be the starter again and be productive, maybe, but not a sexy pick at all. So don't love your draft, but you were in like the same position that I was in. I didn't love my draft either. With this dual wide receiver start, it's hard. Like London at the 2-7, great London pick. And I don't think that you should have gone in any other direction necessarily. Like I think he was the pick there. With that running back run is just nuts. Then we have Blake's team. Really like how he built it out. I probably would not have gone Bucky there. Well, actually, I don't know. I think it's a fine pick. But Bucky there's a fine pick. I think that some of the wide receivers like are technically like a better value, but just going back to the positional values and stuff, totally fine pick. I really like the quarterback selection with Lawrence in the 11th, and then you also get Goff. Can kind of play the matchups if you'd like. And then just stacking up these wide receivers, man. J-Mo, Watson, Lemon, Addison, Concepcion. Probably not going to have any of these guys that finish as a wide receiver one, but very confident that you're going to have 2 or 3 wide receiver 2s to start. And of course, you're looking to play through and win through the running back position and then McBride at the tight end position. So strong draft. I like the strategy that you threw down here. Probably would have liked it better though, going like Olave over McBride and getting a stronger wide receiver one, and then maybe getting like Warren here in the 5th round instead. But you never know how things are gonna fall. But I really like your strategy at the very least. Well, I like your draft, but I also really like your strategy, even if I might have switched a couple of the picks. Dan here, I like the Amon-Ra pick at 8, and then gets Chase Brown and Javonte. Like, I feel like Javonte is kind of, for me at least, the end of a tier at running back. So getting that like last running back in that tier to pair like 2 strong running backs together in the first 3 rounds, really like that. You have Amon-Ra, you have Smith, you have QJ. Don't really love like the Corum and the Gainwell pick there, especially when just the wide receiver values were really good at that point in the draft still. But again, I get it. Like if Kyren goes down, Corum's gonna be super productive. Sorry about that. My cat's cat feeder is going off. Gainwell, similar thing. Like Bucky misses time, I think Gainwell could smash. And Bucky's health is up in the air right now, so definitely get it. Just only having 3 wide receivers through the first like 9 rounds makes me a little nervous. And then would have liked to get a higher floor wide receiver here than Jalen Coker. Probably would have preferred like a Debo. I guess there's not really many left, but like a Debo Samuel. I just don't like Coker. For Hage here at the 9 spot, pretty strong like wide receiver start, very strong wide receiver start. Like the first 4 picks of your draft, Lamb, Barkley, Olave, Higgins, looks fantastic, really. But the problem is that the running back position was just like dry by the time it got back to you here in the 5th round. So you got really good wide receiver values in the 3rd and the 4th, in my opinion. But then like having to reach on Chuba, getting Dobbins and Harvey, I probably would have gone Swift over Chuba. I think that Chuba has like a little bit more like production upside if Brooks just isn't the same player as he used to be. After all these injuries, if he gets injured again, and Chuba could have like a workhorse type role again. I have a harder time seeing like Swift having a workhorse type role in this Bears offense. So I like technically I think Chuba has more upside, but like Swift for the higher floor. Definitely would have gone Swift there. But yeah, running back got super dicey. Still, I think it was a pretty good draft overall. Eshae Howard here, Jefferson, and then Achane. The Loveland pick, like that was just like absolutely a reach, very far above ADP. Not to say it's a bad pick, but it is just a reach. If you had grabbed like a wide receiver here instead of Loveland, or like another running back, I think that this draft would be a smash. Like I really like the Achane pick, the ETN pick, the Price pick, Metcalf, Wandale are good picks there as well, in my opinion. And then JCM, I like where you got him. Boston is an upside play. I probably would have just liked this team better if you had went a different direction with your 3rd round pick. But if that's your guy, that's your guy. You know, who am I to stop you? Then Cam X, like the draft that you had as well, going RB early. Allen, I like, not a bad pick there, but I probably would have preferred just grabbing 2 wide receivers and locking that position down. Like you could have gone Higgins Burden, or probably like Flowers Burden, something like that. Ladd Burden, like whoever your flavor of wide receiver is, and then just gone QB a little bit later, like in the 6th or 7th round or something. But Tate was a good pick. Kraft is a good pick, and then getting some like high floor wide receivers too. But it's tough going like double running back and then only getting 1 wide receiver, because I do feel like in the first like 4.5 rounds, because I feel like once we hit this early 5th round, there's a teardrop in general after like McLaurin, Wilson, Evans, and then these running backs and stuff. Like there's a teardrop, but then just I think the wide receiver position hits a pretty big teardrop as well. So that's just kind of tough, only having 1 receiver before the teardrop. And Burden, but super upside player in Burden, of course. You know, don't dislike him at all. And then Tate, also super upside pick. So your season's gonna live and die on whether or not Burden smashes, or Tate smashes. So that's what you really gotta watch out for. And then Jalen Moff at the 12 spot to finish us up. Cook and Walker. I would not have taken Walker quite this high. Of course, he has the upside to be taken here. Do not argue with that at all. But I think that some of these other guys have similar upside and higher floors than Walker does. But love the like dual running back start here, and then you go Flowers, Waddle, and Parker Washington, and then getting DeAndre Swift, Herbert. I like the likely pick as well. I think that's a really good potential pickup. So I do like what you put down here, but I just don't love. I don't love like the Waddle and the Washington pick. There's some other wide receivers that I would have rather had, but at the same time, it's like you could have gone Price or like Jalen Warren, and just like really stacked the running back position. But nonetheless, I think that you built out like this team build specifically is like really good, like the positional. Even if I don't love some of the picks, I think that you built out your team really good to do. And then Pandora's Box said basically Camex needs both of them to smash, and if they do, he's dangerous. Yeah, and that's kind of just like the team build that Camex went with. Getting like 2 upside wide receivers, but getting them a little bit later. Different to what Blake did, where Blake put off the running back position, and then stacked up more of like wide receiver 2 types. He could have gone like BTJ or Rome or Marv or Tyson over Christian Watson, but he was like, I want that higher floor. Of course, like Lemon, Concepcion, those guys do like they're also rookies. They have upside just by their nature, but like Lemon probably like lower ceiling outcome being on an Eagles offense with Hurts throwing the ball, with Smith and Goddard in the offense, with a strong running back as well and Saquon. So like I think Lemon's a good pick, but like he's kind of like after in a different like upside tier to me than like a Marv or a Tyson or an Odunze or a BTJ. Yeah, and I think he did do well from that spot. I'm like, man, if you would have taken like Hampton over Walker, or grabbed like Higgins over Waddle, something like that, or like, you know, whatever, whoever you want to say, I'd be like, man, he like absolutely smashed. But because of some of the picks that I don't love, I'm like, only like kind of smashed. You know what I mean? Is there someone who went like super high, like so like Diggs, Blake here at the 7th spot went like super high floor wide receiver, later round wide receiver. Camex went like high upside wide receiver strategy here. I'm trying to find someone else that went like kind of high floor, maybe like Hage, but that doesn't really count because like Olave, Higgins are like high floor and high ceiling picks. I mean, I guess if Higgins is healthy and people are healthy, but whatever. Yeah, that's kind of what you have to do in these, like, after the first couple rounds. It's like, am I picking a player that's going to have a high production floor, or am I picking a player that could absolutely smash? And it's just like kind of balancing that. So like my draft, like Tyson, an upside pick. In my opinion, Pierce is an upside pick, but like Sutton, Goddard, Dowdle, those guys are like solid floor picks. Montgomery, not really like an upside production pick, but like high floor pick. So, you know, I think it's about like balancing those. The only thing I'll say about Camex's draft, or I guess the last thing I'll say, is that just went really young. Genty, Hampton, all going into their second year. Burden, second year player. Tate, second year player. With like all of these high end guys except Allen. So that's just really, really interesting. Kind of just like, it doesn't matter, but just from looking at this from like a dynasty lens, like this would be a really good like dynasty team, with like Genty and Hampton, Allen, and then these upside wide receivers. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't super excited about the pick either. But like, I think that he could continue to do what he has been doing, just like low target volume, like lots of touchdowns. Like, I don't think Waddle hurts what Sutton does. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if Waddle is like the clear, or like, you know, clear alpha in targets and stuff, like Sutton can have a relatively low number of targets and just score like 8 touchdowns and have a really good efficiency and just still put up like 13 points per game, I think, pretty easily. I would have picked someone else if I hadn't been like in such a rush, but I'm not totally out on him. I don't think he has like the same, I definitely don't think he has the same upside as what he showed like last season in terms of like production upside, but I do think he has just like a high floor because he's going to score those touchdowns. He's going to have the big plays. Yeah, I mean, he also could just like, his target volume could be absolutely trashed. And the touchdown volume isn't there, and he scores like 8 games. So I could also not see it. You know, I could see that where it doesn't work out. But that is pretty much all I have for you guys right now. This was a lot of fun. I think it was a good like learning exercise here. For me, just actually being in the driver's seat, doing the draft, and being like, oh crap, these running backs are just flying off the board. I need to get on it. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone who drafted with me today. Appreciate all of you. And then, of course, if you stopped by to hang out, if you were watching, appreciate you guys too. But that's gonna be it for us tonight, guys. Don't forget though to go and check out the Redraft channel and the Redraft video that's linked in the description. The channel's linked, and I'll be posting the Redraft channel first inaugural video here in just a minute.